I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 1 will be the financials.
This is actually where I approved them last week, so I'll just go over them real quick. There's no action required, I'm just reporting on what I approved. There's a supplemental appropriation for Department of Job and Family Services Child Support Enforcement Fund for the purchase of a vehicle in the amount of $25,000. There's a cash transfer out of the general fund for local match for the 2013-2014 VOCA grant for the Prosecutor's Victims Witness Program. There's a purchase order for Geauga Mechanical Company for the purchase of a 10-ton split unit for the data center in the amount of $24,500. And then there were contracts A and B for the EnviroCom for the Thompson Township Sewer Project for the Office of Community and Economic Development and the Department of Water Resources totaling $3,048,100. And then vouchers included first quarter 2014 bed tax disbursements to the City of Chardon, Burton Village, Russell Township, and the Geauga Tourism Council.
Okay, well,
Don't have to do anything, yeah?
they're not doing it.
FYI.
All right,
Okay. Number 2, the Commissioner's Office is requesting Board approve and execute minutes for the meeting of May 20, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye. Motion approved. Commissioner's Office is requesting Board approve and execute Resolution 14-090 itemizing the financials for the meeting of June 3rd, 2014. Committee?
The financials for today include a revenue certification for the Transit's operating fund for Corsa insurance reimbursement, supplemental appropriations for the Department of Job and Family Services on engineer office funds to appropriate the carryover balances, appropriation transfers from the contingency account to return appropriations to the Sheriff's Office and the Planning Commission for reimbursements that were deposited into the general fund, cash transfer out of the general fund for the fourth quarter state fiscal year 2014, mandated share for the Department of Job and Family Services, the 2 then and now certificates for the coroner's office, payment to Ravenwood Mental Health Center for the second quarter 2014 youth center funding in the amount of $104,105.01, payment to Ashtabula County Commissioners to return the unused NSP grant funding for the Office of Community and Economic Development in the amount of $130,521.68, and a payment to InterSource Corporation for the adaptive security appliance conversion and upgrade of 4 firewalls for the ADP board in the amount of $33,750.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye. Motion approved. Thank you, Heidi. Okay, on this one here, we've got the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute RID compensation agreement with the City of Chardon.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye. Motion approved.
Sign that. Mr. Sharp needs to sign that.
Okay.
You don't turn the pages for me.
Pardon me.
I gotta turn my own pages.
Well,
Extra customer service for the visitors. That's good.
Ralph, we have a question, and Jeff Klein wants to ask a question.
Yes, Jeff.
In regards to this agreement with Chardon, when was this discussed at meeting?
This started actually way back last year.
Last year. Actually, the prosecutor worked out the deal.
But, I mean,
Our
the
county
public,
prosecutor.
I think, the only meeting I ever heard discussed about that, you're gonna have another meeting to move forward or not move forward on it. I have a problem with giving Chardon land for $1 when Chardon was gonna take money from this county, had no problem with an RID taking money from this county, and now we're gonna give them land for $1.
And I understand what you're saying, and the only reason I voted yes is because we were in a situation where we were basically completely put in a position of either accepting this or just going along with what the legislatures basically have adopted within the laws, that it would have costed us, millions more. So it was one of those scenarios. As far as the dollar that's going to be read next, this was put on for two separate reads. But as far as with the writ, our hands are pretty much tied. This is something that I wish we had a way to do it. I think that getting the word out to the legislatures down at the state end to get these laws changed. It's unfortunate, and everybody pays the price for bad decisions. But our hands are tied. I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything else?
Yeah, I would agree with what Ralph had to say. I mean, you had a choice, you either lost 13, 14 million, or you lost 3 to 6 million. Take your choice, which way do you want to do it. If the ORC is in place, unfortunately, in the midnight hour, they had passed a law in the legislators that really tied our hands, which no one knew about. And we even talked with our CCAO representative. At the time, it was Larry Long. And Larry Long made it real clear to us that we were pretty stuck. And with that, knowing that, we're all gonna have to pay on this, including Chardon. So, and I don't know that anybody's really winning here.
Skip?
I have just one concern. I don't have any comment on the deal itself. The one concern that I have is this. It appears there were discussions going on behind closed doors in which this decision was being made. To me, that appears to be a violation of sunshine law. The Supreme Court has found that you cannot have round-robin discussions between the county administrator and the county commissioners. These discussions should be held in a public forum, all well and good, and the deal's done, and I'm not gonna comment on the deal, whether it's good, bad, I don't know. Part of the problem is we haven't had the value of hearing the discussion in the public setting. And so that's the only concern I have. This does not appear to be a transparent transaction.
And my response to you is this, is that the discussions that I have had regarding this has basically been the information that, in all of the texts that have been basically, sent to me through via emails as far as what this entailed. And I've had a couple discussions of just some updates that I've asked questions to Commissioner, or to County Administrator Lair, as far as just clarifying a couple of questions. As far as sunshine law or something, I have not spoken to anybody from the city of Chardon, and I've spoken to nobody here on the Commissioners Board that would have violated any form of sunshine law. I can't speak for anybody else, but for myself, that's my story.
Well, I spoke many times with Jim Place, and he was our counsel, and with Laura LaChapelle. And I read the Ohio Revised Code on it. And I comprehended it. So with those two things in mind, this was the best alternative. And I think our county prosecutor made it real clear, at least he made it clear to me. And with what I read, I verified.
Well, and understand, the reason that I bring this up is there was a reading of the resolution, but there was no discussion. All of the things that you just said were valuable for the public to hear. And I appreciate you making those comments. It's those kinds of comments that help the public to understand your reasoning. There was no discussion of your reasoning, and that's my concern. Just a concern, nothing more. So.
In December, in January, many months ago, there was a meeting in this room and a discussion was brought, and the county prosecutor at that time suggested possibly suing the city. So we, at that time, the decision was made, since we can't violate the Sunshine Law, that the county prosecutor would be in charge of doing any negotiation or talking to the city and working the deal out. Over time, I'm gonna say that every one of us had talked to the prosecutor at some time or another. This isn't something that just happened. We authorized him, it was not feasible to sue. I mean, if we sued the state, we had a 50-50, or sued the city, I should say, we had a 50-50 chance of winning, and at that, we couldn't resolve this issue because there, trust me, you could write a book about RID legislation, and there's two components to it. And only one could we challenge, because the other one has been done in the state numerous times. So we didn't have a real strong legal position. And when we go on to the next ones, we can have discussion about that as well.
And I would also
I'm not
add,
judging your decision. The decision is whatever you guys decide it is. All I'm saying to you is, and I'm suggesting more than anything else, that this discussion prior to your vote would have been very helpful for people, that's all.
It also would have compromised, we were in negotiations. Mr. Flays?
Yeah, just to answer that, and part of the difficulty, there was no round robin at all. Part of the difficulty here is I have to explain to my clients who are the commissioners what the strengths and weaknesses of our case. And if we're going to sue the city of Chardon, and in a public forum, I'm having a frank discussion of the strengths and weaknesses of our case, that's not a good idea. Because, you know, Randy could be sitting right here in the audience and listen to that, or pull it up on YouTube.
Right, I
So,
appreciate that.
so I think that the issue is, again, I do think that unfortunately this was done more out of an open meeting than anybody would have preferred. But again, what was really driving the agreement here was the strengths and weaknesses of our potential case. Because the issue here, you know, there's two issues. There's either settle the case or get into a lawsuit with the city. And I needed to be able to have a frank discussion with each commissioner as to what, you know, our potential worst case scenario and best case scenario was in a lawsuit, in my opinion. And those confidential attorney-client communications, we just can't have that discussion. I mean, even given that, those constrictions that we had on this, you know, we did have several meetings in the public where this was discussed. We had a significant, you know, we had a very memorable meeting, at least in my mind, with a lot of the city officials here, where, you know, there was basically a free-for-all on this issue, and different department heads came in and talked about the RID and what it would do to their different departments and the different, I mean, a lot of this has been discussed in the public. I just think it hasn't been discussed recently, because in talking to the commissioners, especially in the realm of economic development with the property in question, you know, they really left it up to me to try to negotiate something within the parameters of what I thought would happen in a lawsuit, and that's what Laura LaChapelle and I did. We negotiated something with the city's attorney, and, you know, not that city council had a ton of meetings either. I mean, we negotiated with the city's attorney, and we had a finished product, and I think Randy presented that to city council, and I presented it to the commissioners, and, you know, they've approved that. So, again, it's not like we were trying to hide anything. I'm sometimes at a disadvantage when I want to keep our strategy confidential, because it would really prejudice all the county residents in a lawsuit situation.
I would also add that Chardon, there's over 500 homes that are gonna go into these 3 separate developments. And they're taking a huge risk also, because if all of these homes don't get done at the timely manner, they're putting in the sewer infrastructure, the road infrastructure. They're gonna have an extreme amount of financial responsibility, regardless of whether they get the 3 to 5 million or 6 million that they get from all of the Geauga County. It's gonna cost them, I think, in my opinion, and I don't have data to prove that, but I think as time goes by, I think it's gonna be a far more expensive venture than they anticipated. And, knowing that, of course, hindsight's great, but, we'll have to see. It's a wait and see thing.
The Ohio Revised Code, while it talks about the sunshine law, it also provides a number of exceptions to that.
Exactly.
One of it is an executive session dealing with property issues, property transfer, purchase, and so on. We could have advertised to have numerous meetings whenever we could get everybody together, because it would have been at odd times. And then met, called a session, adjourned to go into executive session, talked in secret, come back out, open the meeting, adjourn, and go home. We had every right to do that, but it was not a practical situation. We have a hard time getting 3 people together sometimes on Tuesday or Thursday. So getting them together when it was appropriate, when the city had their meetings and could meet with people and so on, there was no intent to circumnavigate or do anything secretly, and we have the right to have executive sessions on matters of dealing with property.
Land transfers.
Yes.
The other thing I would add too with this whole RID, the RID law is great for cities, it's great for developers, it's bad for counties. Unfortunately, I think we've all been in the position where the state legislature has done things to different groups over the years that just isn't a good situation. So I think what we did here was, there's some gray area in the law, and rather get into a long protracted lawsuit with the city over working within the confines of that gray area, I think that we reached an agreement here that I don't think the commissioners are thrilled with the agreement, and I don't think, frankly, city council's thrilled with the agreement, which is usually the sign that it's a decent agreement if both sides are somewhat unhappy. So, I think we did our best dealing with the confines of what the law. And, again, this was unusual because normally I don't insert myself this much into a process like this, but it was a situation where there was really high-level legal matters, and it was just better for my office to work it out with the city's attorney, come to a resolution that, again, frankly, neither side is thrilled with. But I think overall, it's the best thing for the city, the county, and all of the taxpayers, given what we're dealing with the RID law.
And I just like to add, though, as a taxpayer, this is the first explanation that the commissioners or you have given about this. And I think what Skip is saying is we would appreciate it, because the only people losing are the taxpayers. Would appreciate it before we agree to a resolution, explain why you're doing the resolution, that's all.
And we did have another meeting. I mean, we had a very lengthy meeting with the city. I mean, this was all done in open session. City, department heads, commissioners, I was here, and, we aired this out pretty well, which actually probably protracted the negotiations, because I think there was a lot of ill will after that open meeting that we had. But again, I think each side just let the lawyers get together and work on it, and that's why we have an agreement. But this certainly was discussed at length in this room.
Well, I appreciate your explanations, because for me it was very helpful. And as Jeff said, I think it's just a nice thing to be able to let the public know what's behind the decision. And so, whatever that's worth. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Okay. Number 5 is going to be the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute Resolution 14-091 authorizing the transfer of land no longer needed for public use to the City of Chardon, Ohio.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Stoy?
Vote no, and with the comment on that is, I feel that in this situation, there was value that we could have had, that we could have potentially had some private buyers. I think that we're giving up $250,000 plus in a piece of property that could have been sold at a higher value than $1. So, that note.
The next one.
That's it.
And the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the purchase agreement with the City of Chardon for two parcels, 10-700800 and 10-709-568 in the amount of $1.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
No.
For the record, the piece of property that we are transferring has some EPA issues with it, and it needs to be cleaned up.
To remediate it.
It has to be remediated, and there are restrictions, and no one at this table has any idea how much that's gonna cost. But to say that the property's worth any number, to be factual, you would need to subtract whatever cleanup costs are involved. And at that time, even after the cleanup, there are restrictions that would apply, and it would require somebody spending a lot of time and energy working on that and following that process through. Trust me, I'm not in the habit of trying to sell something for $1 unless I paid 50 cents. But this is unfortunately the best of the situation for the county. Mr. Flays?
And if I could just comment on the property itself, it is a difficult situation because, you know, you've got, the county owns this piece of property that really the county isn't utilizing. It's borderline blighted, I think, at the moment. That's in the middle of the city. Certainly the city has an interest in having that property look nice. You know, it gets into, this is another one that's a tough one. I mean, I think Commissioner Spitaleri has a great point in that to a private buyer, that property could have some real value. But the downside of trying to judge its worth, the way the law works when you have environmental issues on a property, and that property has a long documented history of having some environmental issues, and the city's certainly done their due diligence to investigate those issues. If you are a government entity and you transfer property to anybody, you can't sign away your liability for those environmental issues. A government entity is always going to be held responsible for those environmental issues, whether it's 10 years from now or 100 years from now. So while I think the property does have value in a sense, there's a big negative involved in it to a government entity because you can't unload your responsibility. You can't pass those along to a subsequent buyer unless the subsequent buyer is also a political subdivision. So this is a unique situation, I think, that was presented with the city where the county can kind of wash its hands of this problem and the city is taking on the property as is with full knowledge of the environmental conditions, and the city's going to presumably pay to remediate those environmental conditions. But again, even if the county paid and remediated those conditions, if you sell it to anybody else other than a political subdivision, you're always going to be on the hook, you know, even long after we're all gone. So I think that there was a real value in what that value is. We could debate that all day, but there's a real value to the county of being able to pass off that liability to the city, and that's why it's being transferred for a nominal amount, for $1, because you're getting, the city is acquiring a piece of property that, yeah, they have some issues, but they're going to do something with it. The county isn't going to do anything with it that I've seen. The city's going to do something with it, probably turn a negative into a positive, but the county is going to be able to just completely wash its hands of all of the potential liabilities. I mean, you know, you don't want some lawsuit 20 years from now haunting us. So we're just stepping away, transferring the property, and let the city take on that responsibility. I think the county really got value out of that transaction.
And I think what the city's planning to do with it is a good cause. Having spent a lot of time in Virginia and Washington, and looking at the path that they use that extends from one end of the East Coast to the other, I'll tell you, that is a real plus for any government to have in their city. And I would think it would be a good economic development tool for them to have that trail extend, as it extends onto the park district. I think it's a good cause. I've always felt that, and I continue to feel that way. And I think in years to come, it will be seen as that. And I applaud my commissioners for letting go of a property. They can put a parking lot there and not have to worry about the environmental concerns, and they can make that corner look like something, because it certainly doesn't look like much right now. So I applaud you for staying with it.
I guess just the only other thing that I could add is that it strikes me as bad business sense when we were gonna get $65,000 for about 25 feet of that property for the bike trail, and now we're giving up the entire piece of property for $1. So, we can move on to number 7,
Okay.
maintenance department.
Morning, sir.
Morning, how are you?
Oh, great. Beautiful day. The first one is for hiring summer help. Nicholas, he's out of Burton, so he graduated this last year. I think he'll be really good.
Nicholas Millette.
Yes.
See if we can read number 7.
The maintenance department is requesting the board approve hiring Nicholas Millett to the position of summer help number 0101 at a rate of $8.25 per hour to be effective June 8, 2014 through September 30th, 2014 for up to 21 weeks, maximum 840 hours.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved. Number 8.
The next one is the Red Simmons Memorial Site down there at Geauga County Safety Center. That's for the sprinkler and all that. That does the backflow, any repairs, and the inspections that we need to get done for that.
So,
And this is a 2-year contract.
oh, for 2 years?
Yes.
So, what does that mean, irrigation services? Are they putting
There's
water in
irrigation there, there's sprinkler system.
Oh, there is?
Yes. Around that pavilion, which barely ever gets used.
Oh,
But snow plows, anything else, they come through, knock off the sprinkler heads, they do all that repair.
oh, so they're doing the, oh, I
Yes.
see.
They're doing the maintenance,
Oh,
the
I see.
inspection,
Okay.
and everything for
Now
that.
I understand it, all right. Thank you.
And once again, we're gonna use that 2,000, probably not. We'll probably only use, but it all depends on what the maintenance of the whole thing is gonna cost.
Read number 8.
The maintenance department is requesting the board approve and execute a service contract agreement with Implementing Landscaping to perform irrigation services and maintenance of the Red Simmons Memorial Site for year 2014 and year 2015 in an amount not to exceed $2,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion approved. Number 9, Glenn.
Number 9 is the generators, the county generators that we have for the buildings. We have 7 of them located throughout the buildings of the county. Once again, this is a 2-year contract. They come in, they do the general maintenance of it, and we call them in if anything is to happen to them. We got one located at the 470 area, the annex, the airport, the courthouse, the home, county home, DES, and the youth home.
This doesn't include the big one at the safety center.
Correct. That's totally different. And once again, this is a 2-year contract. So,
Read number 9.
The maintenance department is requesting the board approve and execute a service contract agreement with Shep Electric Company Incorporated to perform inspections and maintenance services for Geauga County generators, Appendix A, for year 2014 and 2015 in an amount not to exceed $20,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye. Number 10, Glenn.
number 10 is the Geauga County's, our sprinkler systems throughout our county buildings. We have those located, at the courthouse, aging, opera house, transit, county home, Patterson Center, the annex, and JFS. This is all our sprinkler systems. This is a ORC that they have to be tested every year through the fire department. Fire department's on site with this, myself, and making sure everything's working properly, all works. Once again, this is a 2-year contract. With fire protection, they're a newer one this year, and this one only went up like $200 from the previous contract every year.
Do they go in and take those, fire extinguisher, they refill those? Is that under that contract? That's separate, huh?
Yeah, that's totally
Because that's
separate.
expensive right there.
Correct, we have another
They come in-
contract for that.
Uh-huh.
That does all the, that's,
Yeah.
the fire systems basically broke down into 3 sections. So you got your fire extinguishers, you got your detection system, and then you got your sprinkler systems. So, and this one's just for all our sprinkler systems.
If we could read 10.
The maintenance department is requesting the board approve an executed service contract agreement with Fire Protection Solutions LLC to perform Geauga County sprinkler systems testing and inspections for year 2014 and year 2015 in an amount not to exceed $8,000.
I make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved. Thanks, Connie.
Yep.
Yeah, good day, sir.
Hi, Patty. Morning, John.
Morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
So you're
Hi,
hold
how
number
are you?
11, we'll just do number 12.
Good.
Okay, just so
Rested?
you know,
Like to
Keep
be
walking,
seen,
that's all.
like to
Is
come
that
up-
what you do?
That's what you have to do.
Keep walking, huh?
is it stuck?
like to be seen in public with Mrs. Davis.
Whoa, careful, Patty, we don't want any accidents here.
Got it.
Patty has just pulled item number 11.
I have some other housekeeping that we're gonna be doing next week, so I'll do that with that.
Okay,
So we're just
I don't think we
gonna
have
vote
the
on
Alright.
paperwork correct for it, so I'm gonna pull that and we'll do that next
forget
week.
11, okay.
So we'll just deal with 12 today. And basically, what this is earlier you had approved an application to ODOT, and we applied for a grant with them of $162,000. They approved it. We went ahead and went to bid for the project, and when we went to bid, our engineer decided there was one little section that would be left out of being repaired, so he included that in the bid. And the bid came out just slightly over the engineer's estimate. But it did mean that we had to go back to ODOT and ask for a little bit more money to cover that one little section. So ODOT has approved it, and I did receive a letter from them yesterday that they have approved the grant in the amount of $180,000 if we are still willing to take it. And I wanted to bring this to your attention because it does go up slightly over what we originally asked
But we have
for.
14, our part, what we were putting in, or is it now, it's, I see it's 18 now,
It was 16.
16, okay, so it's just a little bit more.
Right. Now, what also happened during that course is the engineering fees, the design and engineering fees of $18,000, ODOT will not cover. So that becomes part of the match.
I see.
So that's why we're here. And we had come earlier to you for our budget last year, and I believe we asked for 31,000, and this is gonna take it up to about 36. So we were a little concerned that, we need to have that.
4,000 more.
Right, in there. And, that's the gist of it. What has happened now is the grant now is 182,000 instead of 162,000, 180,114 instead of 162,103.
Okay. So then-
Now, what, you say the grant is now 182,
180,
180?
114.
Well, the document here says that we're signing is 162, 103.
But of
That's
course,
what the
ODOT
ODOT will
portion.
provide.
we have to stick
And you
the
have
18.
to put that other 10% in the 18011. And then you will also be covering the engineering, not eligible for the grant, which is another 18,000.
So this has all been in your plans?
It has.
You have planned this for years
Correct.
to do this?
Correct.
And
It's a
this is
safety
just,
issue. It's a safety
it's a safety issue, so it's not like you're coming up with something brand new to
Correct.
Just
do.
him.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted,
So if we could read number 12.
The Geauga County Airport Authority is requesting the board approve an increase to the Ohio Department of Transportation ODOT Department of Aviation Project Number 14-03 to reconstruct T-hangar taxiways A and B in the amount of $180,114. $162,103 ODOT funding, and $18,011 county match, plus $18,000 for engineering not covered by the grant, and further approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the grant contract under fiscal year 2014 Ohio Airport Grant Program.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, take care.
Thanks for your support, okay? Appreciate it.
The Office of Community Economic Development. How you doing, Kelly?
Good, how are you?
Good.
How are you?
Number 15 is, or 13, I'm sorry. it was
Sorry.
changed.
Yeah, you're looking at the same information, just different number.
Okay. The first one that I'm here for today is for the notice of award for Infinity Paving to do the paving at the fairgrounds under the grant BF 13. And they were the lowest in best bidder at $79,830.
Read number 13.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board award the bid to Infinity Paving Company for the Geauga County Fairgrounds Sidewalk Improvements and Parking Facilities Project under grant number B-F-13-1AZ-1 in the amount of $79,830 as they represented the lowest and best bid, and further approve and authorize the president and board to execute the notice of award.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved. And number 14.
This one is for permission to advertise our public hearing number 2 for our community block grant application for next year's allocation grant, and anything actually that, in the neighborhood revitalization grant. Basically, this is to cover anything that we may apply for down the road. It's not saying that we're going to get that or anything, it's housekeeping.
Okay, number 14.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board grant permission to advertise to hold public hearing number 2 for the 2014 Community Development Block Grant Allocation and Neighborhoods Revitalization Grant Application to be held on Tuesday, June 17, 2014 at 10:30 a.m. Notice of this public hearing will be advertised on June 5, 2014 on the county website.
Make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Okay. Karen for the county home. Morning.
Okay. So the shuffling starts.
Again,
It's all right, though.
it's okay?
Yeah, you just gotta keep remembering, I'm an entry level department, and,
It's not a fun job.
no, it's tiring, but it's part of it, and, you know, the people that are there, that are full-time, or, you know, regular hires, they stay for quite a while, so you gotta keep remembering that part, and not get discouraged, because it really isn't that bad. Just sometimes it all hits at once, and this was one of those months, this was really hard, but it worked, and I just wanted you to know, I did help us out by the summer youth program. I hired 2 of the kids.
Okay.
It's their first jobs, they're coming in for the summer, they're only gonna work first shift, Monday through Friday, so they're there when I'm there, and, you know, it saves us a lot of money too,
Sure.
because for the summer, we have basically free help.
This is boy I know.
Is that a comment on me?
Really?
Hello.
Well, on some of the positions that you have, where people come on
Yeah.
fresh, new, and maybe I'm wrong making this assumption, but it takes certain type of people to
Right.
work in certain types of jobs,
And you have
and
to
they
find
don't
out
know
if that's
that. I mean,
something you can do.
you know,
Right.
I think of, now this is the county home, not a nursing home, but I see people in the private sector in nursing homes, and it takes, you know, special people to do those jobs.
Right.
And I don't know how you're gonna know that you're not one of those special people if you don't try,
Exactly. And it's,
or maybe not.
this this isn't so bad.
No, I just-
And what I tell people when they're hired is, this isn't nursing home, this is assisted living level of care. It's
Right.
not the
It's still a lot
same
of
kind,
work.
it's hard work,
Psychological.
but it's still not all the heavy lifting and real direct patient care that you do in a nursing home. So, this is
It's a special kind of
it's a
person.
good place for young people that are getting ready to go to college to find out if they wanna go in the healthcare field.
Right.
If they're averse to this, they sure don't wanna become a nurse or, you know, a therapist that's going to be involved in a lot more difficult, you know, of medical, or more involved, complex medical tasks. So it's a good way to see if you like it, build your resume, and, you know, it's a good start. I went to school full-time while I was going to, well, I worked full-time, and my boss bent over backwards to help me make sure I got through college, and I think this is an ideal situation for somebody like that they can go to college, and, you know, one of the people that we're gonna talk about today is that same way. She'll probably be with me for 2 or 3 years, because, yeah, it's perfect. It is, so,
We've
don't
all
be
been there.
discouraged when I show up and I have to
Well,
do
we're
all
not.
of these at one time. And
Karen,
I'm not
we're not
crying, so it's
discouraged,
all
don't you
right.
be discouraged.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not.
it's pretty
I'm
easy
really
for
not.
us, it's
You
you're
know,
the one that.
But, you know, last time I came, I remember Mary said, oh, I haven't seen you for a long time.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it is
Then
that
bang.
way, it kinda goes in waves, and
Well,
this
taking-
is unfortunately, if all of this could've happened about 6 weeks ago, it would've made it for a better summer, because it just tends to fall apart in the summer, I have no idea why. People don't wanna work anymore, so they decide, I think I'll stay home for the summer.
One of those people,
You know,
they wanna have
that
place.
happens.
Yeah.
They should have been gone into education or some other 9-month job, but it's just the way it is. And I also, you know, I have a couple people that resigned, as part-timers that may be coming back for the fall. So I'm not so worried about filling some of these positions, because I know that they're gonna be okay.
And they're getting paid, and they're taking care of people that most likely wouldn't have had a place to live.
Right.
And I can tell you a little story. In the airport just yesterday, I was sitting there waiting for my plane from 10 o'clock until 4, because they kept
Been
getting,
there.
and there was a man cleaning up around, and he came up to me and he said, "Good morning." I went, "Oh, good morning." He started talking, and he says, "You know," he said, "I work this job, it's my second job, but I have another job. But what I do with this job," he said, "I used to be homeless." He says, "and my girlfriend talked me into working, and I've been working ever since she died, but now I've done the second job, and what I do with this money is I give it to those who don't have places to live."
Wow.
I thought for a moment, I mean, he was so.
Does he know where the county home is?
Well, I thought,
Well,
you know, we're talking Baltimore, so I don't think, you know, but I thought that was, you know, real telling about someone who has, you know, come from the dregs and realizes that work is the way out, but now he wants to give back. And for people that come, I guess making the analogy with you hear our folks coming to, helping people who wouldn't have had a place to live, and even though they're getting paid very minimally.
Right.
It's a good thing.
I think it is.
Yeah,
Maybe number 14
it's a good thing.
15.
or 15.
The county home is requesting your board reclassify Sarah Troglin from part-time
That was
attendant number 1504-1 to full-time attendant number 1504 to be effective June 1st, 2014 at the rate of $9.89 per hour with no probationary period.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
She's worked for me part-time for almost a year, so.
Is that right?
She put in her dues, and
Yeah.
she's worked every weekend for a year,
Is that right?
yeah, to be
Wow.
able to do this, and now
Yeah.
she's gonna be full-time with benefits.
Good.
Okay, the next one is hiring of a summer worker, and it's Evan, he's in the back there, and he came with me because he would like to go into politics with me.
Oh, good. Robert County Commissioner.
So,
Let me get him on camera.
I would like, I
Turn it
just
around.
wanted
I
him
am.
to see
I'm
what it
spinning
was
it around
like
here.
Smile
with
for
the
him.
agenda.
It's just slow, it'll be there in a minute.
And he's here for the summer,
There he
Yeah.
is. Behind Joe.
So is he going to school?
yes, he goes to Ohio State.
Oh, go Bucks.
Go Bucks. Number 16.
The county home is requesting the board approve hiring Evan Moore to the position of temporary full-time summer help number 0101 at a rate of $8.25 per hour to be effective June 6, 2014 through August 14, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
the last one, she's gonna be a nurse and she's gonna work for me until she's out of college. So this is an awesome deal for me.
Number 17.
The county home is requesting the board approve hiring Kathleen Lanigan to the position of part-time attendant number 1504-1 to be effective June 6, 2014 at a rate of $9.39 per hour. After the successful completion of a 1,000-hour probationary period, the rate will increase to $9.89 per hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
From the common police court. Hello.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay. You can talk or do you want to talk?
Oh, you go talk. We're not saying that.
Okay, this is to request approval of our grant to continue with our intensive probation, pretrial services, and intense for, I'm sorry, reading two different things here. Intensive probation, pretrial services, and pre-sentence investigation programs.
Which is pretty much the same as it was last year?
It's the same as last year.
Okay, nothing changed.
The addition, there isn't a small additional amount under the intensive probation part. And that was from an addendum that was from late last fall to add the CBT groups, the cognitive behavior groups. And that is now included in the program. So that's the dollar difference from last year to this year.
Okay, if we could read number 18.
The Common Police Court Intensive Supervision Probation is requesting the board approve and execute the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections Subsidy Grant Agreement for community-based corrections programs, non-residential misdemeanor for fiscal year 2015 for the period July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015 in the amount of $115,937, $26,000 for pre-sentence investigation, $62,402 for intensive supervision, and $27,535 for pretrial release with no local match.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You
You
too.
too.
County engineers.
Hi,
Hello,
Nick.
how are you?
Good. Two items. The first one on the agenda is the request to reject the bids for the original building as they were exceeded the 10% allowable amount. So we're looking for your permission to reject all those bids.
Okay, if we could read number 19.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board reject all bids submitted for the new Geauga County Engineer's Office building as all bids submitted were in excess of 10% of the estimate of construction costs.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion approved.
The next item is requesting permission to re-advertise with some modifications to the building on June 20, and with an opening on June 25th.
Okay, if we could read 20.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for bids for the new Geauga County Engineer's Office building to be held on Wednesday, June 25th, 2014 at 3:00 p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised on June 10th, 2014, and June 17th, 2014, and on the county website.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion approved. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank
Have a good day.
Yep.
Take care.
Okay, Jessica, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
It's nice to have some sunshine.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm well. Let me give you a few things.
Mission statement.
Good morning. Well, it is a privilege to provide services to the seniors in Geauga County. Of course, when you take a look at where our funds come from, you can see that about 86.5% are from the levy. So being that that money is due to expire in the near future, it's integral to continue on with the levy to provide services for the seniors in this community. So we're asking for a flat renewal, not a new tax. Moving
Renewal.
forward. Just a renewal, yeah, one no renewal. Need to get a certificate from the auditor, of course, so we have
Sure.
more
Step one,
information.
right.
Step one, yes.
If we could read 21.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-092, declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation and requesting certification of the county auditor of the dollar amount generated as authorized by ORC 5705.03.19, .191.25, and .26.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Speed?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
Next is regarding our chore and home safety program. After doing a lot of job review, as I've been looking at job descriptions and whatnot, we are lacking the appropriate job description to lead the chore and home safety department. So with the help of Colleen Lockhart, David Lair, we developed a job description that's very much in line with the other coordinators underneath our in-home services program.
Okay, we can read 22.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the new position and job description of Chore and Home Safety Program Coordinator number 1032 to be effective June 3rd, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Speedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
The org chart simply puts this job underneath our in-home services wing, which reports to the in-home services supervisor, Adam Van Boxel, who then reports to myself and Kathy Petrella.
And for 24, do you want to just cover that one also? Or go ahead and read 23, actually, it's there, but it's separate.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve the revised organizational chart to include Chore and Home Safety Program Coordinator number 1032, position to be effective June 3rd, 2014.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Speedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
And lastly, I'd like to internally post this for 5 days.
Okay, number 24.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board grant permission to advertise internally for the position of Chore and Home Safety Program Coordinator number 1032 for a period of 5 days.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Speedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved.
The next 13 have to do with our federal, pardon me, with our farm market program. What we do at the Department on Aging is we have an assessment for all of the seniors. Those who want to fill out the detailed assessment, they can report on their nutritional status. So what we do is we run a report based on seniors who are at a nutritional risk, and we have a farm market program for them. We give them vouchers. Grand total is $50. We give them $10 a month through June through October.
For fresh fruit.
Fresh. And the actually the farmers participating this year are the same as last year, but what we do is we do send out information. We get our information from the Farm Bureau, and we send out letters to inquire about participants in the program.
No,
The goal of this program is to create healthy habits. So one of our criteria is you cannot participate more than 3 years in a row, because if you haven't changed your eating habits in 3 years, then we're not going to do it.
Freeing it up for other people.
Freeing it up for
who are
other
coming on.
people, right,
Yeah.
right, absolutely. The goal is healthy habits.
and then Jessica, you guys have a way of tracking how many, and what has been the return on those? I mean, do people use them almost fully, or?
You know, I wish I would have brought that with me. I apologize. I can email that to you. But we had over, Kathy, you're the champion of that. How many folks utilize the program?
About 250.
About 250. I thought it was 261. About 250. And how many return their vouchers typically?
We get a pretty large return. I mean, there's some that pass away, you know, or they drop out of the program because they move, or they end up going into an institution or something like that. So it's a real high percentage that start it and then continue for the whole 5 months.
So would you say it's about 80%?
And return the vouchers, I would say, is about that.
They return them back, they never even use them?
No, they use them.
Oh, they use
They
them.
use,
80% use them, 20%
may not.
may not because they get.
So when you get
institutionalized.
that bad, does that money then lop over to the next year? If they don't use it?
No, it's just not. It's
Not redeemed.
It's not
It's not redeemed.
So it's money that isn't spent on all the funds, so it
Right.
stays in the.
That's what I say, it
Right,
stays in the
right,
fund.
Right.
Right.
So.
Because we
then
get a
you-
bill from the farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like.
I
So we're not
Grace did it.
spending the
Yeah.
money up
Right.
front and losing
Yeah, it's
out
good to
at the
know
end of
that,
the
I
day.
mean, so,
Right,
you know,
absolutely.
it's not use it or lose it, it's,
No.
Oh,
right,
right.
yeah.
They don't carry over from one month to the next.
Right.
They don't redeem them in June. They can't use them in July.
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll read up to 37 here.
we all ate fresh vegetables, we didn't finish it.
You read 125 through?
37.
37.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Barbara A. Foos Blooming Patches Farm for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Patrick Cousins Maple Crest Farms for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Paul Harris Howard's Apples for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Urban Growers Greenhouse J&J Produce for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Marvin A. Hirschberger's Produce for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Burton Floral and Garden for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Kathy B. Utzi Kirkman Produce for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Patterson Farms Incorporated for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Raymond D. Byler D&S Produce for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Jacob J. Kaufman of River Valley Produce for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Craig Cerna's Farm for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Robert A. Sage's Apples for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014. The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement with Rhonda McCummins Crick Family Farm for the 2014 Senior Farm Market for the period June 1st, 2014 through October 31st, 2014.
Is that it?
That's it.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Speedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. Yeah, just curiosity, why couldn't we just list all the names of all the mine one?
Yeah,
That's right,
what
can't we
the-
give them a blanket?
Right.
They're individual contracts, I guess.
As you see, they're all individual
But
contracts.
are the
These are all,
details different in them?
I have to send out an individual motion letter to each.
There it is.
Thank you very much.
I thought,
Thank
yeah,
you, have a nice
It would've been
day.
nice to do that as a list, but
Yeah.
since we have to return them all individually, so.
Because
So be it.
if we did it and they were all just included and they all,
Right, all in one
Yeah.
master contract.
right,
I mean, we
here's,
could ask Laura if there's a way of doing that. on
here's
that
who's
contract.
listed, I mean,
Yeah.
this
I think
this
we
here
asked
probably,
that about those other contracts, you know,
Yeah, well,
the
something else
contracts
we
with
had.
maintenance
Oh, all
Yeah.
the
are
service
the same
contracts.
way.
Right.
yeah.
And we asked that
I mean, this
because.
is good hunting grounds that we're taking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Lots of trees.
There it is.
38 and 39, we could probably do together.
Okay, so let's see where we're at here. 38 and 39 we could do together. The treasurer is not, or auditor, the treasurer not here.
Yeah, this is just their.
38
So
and
could-
39?
Yep. You wanna read both of those?
The county auditor is requesting the board accept, execute, and file the monthly statement of county finances filed by the county auditor for the month of April 2014 pursuant to ORC 319.15. The county treasurer is requesting the board accept, execute, and file the monthly statement of county finances filed by the county treasurer for the month of April 2014 pursuant to ORC 319.15.
Okay, I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Speedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. Okay. So that was 38, 39. So number 40.
Okay, before you get started with 40, I just want to say this. In the past, we haven't had a good enough vetting process for these people, and this is what we ended up happening. We had this egregious salary increase. Now, they were rolled back, and we're told by our county prosecutor we can't do anything other than the board changes. I think this is a knee-jerk reaction to this. I don't have any problem with Jeff Klein. I think he probably would be a very good person to put on this board. But what I would like to see, I would like to see that we do a vetting process. We put out applications in the same way that Judge Grandel did for applications on the board, park board, because this board is run by a levy, and I think we need applications. And it may well be that the individuals we have here are the ones we pick. But I would like to see a vetting process done, and I would like to see applications come in, and I would like to go over them. I'd like to interview these people before we do it. I don't want to fall into the same problem that we had with these egregious salaries based on a board that controls it, that we don't control. So that's what I would say for the next two. I can't vote for these at this point. I want to see that process in place. I would like us to evaluate these folks. And like, once again, I will say it again, I think, Jeff Klein's probably a really good guy for this one because he has a daughter that is involved with this. And I think I would just like to have the applications go out to other people who might be interested. I would like to go through the process as Judge Grandel did with his board because of the problems he had. And I think it makes sense, especially when you're looking at a levy. How much is that levy? 1.5 million? 6 million.
Oh, there's two of them.
There's two levies. One's 1.6, one's another. It's a lot of money that a board is overseeing, and regardless of what's been done in the past, we don't want to make past mistakes. So at this time, I think it makes a good sense to have applications go out, go through a vetting process, and interview all these folks, and then make a decision.
You could read number 40.
Commissioner Rear is requesting the board appoint Jeff Klein to the Geauga County Board of Mental Health and Recovery Services for a 4-year term effective June 3rd, 2014 through June 30th, 2018.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Commissioner Sweetie?
No.
Commissioner Rear?
yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Motion stands approved. Jeff Klein appointed. Number 41.
Commissioner Spitaleri is requesting the board appoint Michael Petruzziello to the Geauga County Board of Mental Health and Recovery Services to fill the position held by Alberta Choksi for a 4-year term effective July 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2018.
Make that motion.
Second,
Commissioner Sweetie?
No.
Commissioner Rear?
abstain,
Commissioner Spitaleri?
Aye.
I'll explain my vote.
I still think we should have
The
we need to have.
gentleman in question, well, I have no
applications.
problem with him, was on a board. Then when he became elected as a township trustee, there was some question as to the compatibility of the board and his role as a trustee. I would like that answered, I should say, determined that Mike is, I mean, they removed him from, or asked him to leave a board that he was on after he became elected. I don't have all the particulars on that, and I would like to get a determination by the prosecutor's office before we go ahead and put him on and make these things, and then we have to turn around and redo that. The fact that that office doesn't take effect until July 1st gives us a little bit of time, a week or two, to get an opinion.
Okay, number 42.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve 12 hours of personal unpaid leave of absence for Deborah Ashburn per section 6.12 of the Geauga County Personnel and Procedure Manual for the period June 19, 2014 through June 20, 2014. This unpaid leave will extend her probationary period an additional 12 hours.
She had some personal time off she'd like to take, and she's not eligible for vacation yet. And because it's during her probationary time, we had to treat this separately from the rest of her time until her vacation kicks in.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved. And number 43,
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board grant permission to advertise for a public hearing to discuss the Geauga County 2015 tax budget on Tuesday, June 24, 2014 at 10:30 a.m. Notice of this hearing will be published on June 12, 2014 and on the county website.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
aye, motion approved. And 44,
That actually does not happen until 2 o'clock. We will have to recess from this meeting and then reconvene
At
at
2
2
o'clock?
o'clock in Munson, at Sandstone Drive to have the public viewing, for the proposed vacation.
So we're gonna recess from this meeting.
Correct. We will
Take
have
that
to
out.
recess and then go there, and then we will adjourn from that location.
okay,
Be-
motion,
Before we leave here, I would like to take the opportunity, for the record, to thank prosecutor and his chief prosecutor, Laura LaChapelle, for the effort and the time that they put in with the city of Chardon to negotiate the best of a bad situation. To clarify for people, when the RID, when you talk about the RID, it's complex and it's convoluted, and it takes a while to figure it out. It was complicated by the fact that legislation was passed in September, the end of September, in a session with no public hearing in Columbus, that allowed for these parcels to be broken out over 30 years. So if you had a section and they didn't sell the house for or sell the lot for 20 years, that's when the 30 years started. So it looked as though it could go on 50, 55, 60 years unless they sold them all right away. So that was one issue that we had. The best that our financial department could come up with was it was going to cost us a minimum, cost the taxpayers our money. They were going to take a minimum of $10.5 million over time. Now, how much time, that's the problem. The cap is for $6 million when they reach the cap and the RID ceases to exist. So you could say that by doing this with the guesstimate, which is open-ended, we save probably $4.5 million of taxpayer dollars that most likely very few, if anybody, in this room will see. Because, well, if it goes out 40 or 50 years, I don't know. Maybe Jessica.
Jessica.
Maybe Jessica. But everybody else looks to me like they're probably going to check out before the RID comes. Maybe Jim. But I want to thank publicly, for the record,
Christie too.
the efforts of the prosecutor's office and also the city for hammering out at least what I feel is the best of a bad situation. It's still costing us $6 million that we shouldn't have to pay, but you need to talk to your state representative about that because they've got the law on the books in Columbus, and a municipality can use it, and we're just tied. Thank you.
Quick question. You know, Mary, I agree there should be a vetting process for that position.
I do.
And as you were commissioner for 10 years, I never heard you bring that up before, and maybe it would have been brought up previously.
I said,
We wouldn't have had this position.
okay,
We wouldn't be in the
I
financial
agree.
position that the board members, who you were part of appointing too. And that's
You
my
can
only
have this.
comment, that if you wanted a vetting process, and I think you should have it, I really do.
and that's what I see. With the problem we had with this board, I felt We should have, we didn't have any problem like this in those times. There wasn't a need for it, we didn't see it, we didn't have a problem with it.
Right.
And one of the gentlemen that was on that board, George Edgar, at the time he was on there, they didn't have cars, they didn't have this
Right.
excessive salaries, and that's exactly why I mentioned it. That's exactly why.
Right.
I can't change the past. Oh,
You wanna go over the acknowledgements before you
Yeah.
release that?
Report filed by the dog warden for the 14th, also for the 21st. Portage County Common Police Court Probate Juvenile Division Annual Report. The annual statement of the unpaid fees for the 2012 Sheriff's Office of inaccurate account of all fees, costs, penalties, percentages, allowances, prerequisites that have remained unpaid for more than 1 year pursuant to ORC 32531. As for the meetings, we have a NOC COG meeting 9 a.m.
I can't go to that.
WIB meeting at 10 a.m.
So if you wanna-
470
I cannot.
Center Street, building number 8. That's going to be on the 4th tomorrow. The 10th Commissioners will hold regular session that will include a public hearing at 10:15 for the proposed vacation of Sandstone and the alteration of a portion of Y Road in Munson Township. Also on the 10th, there's a Planning Commission meeting at 7 p.m. in the meeting room, building 1C, 470 Center Street in Chardon. On the 11th, there'll be training for the Perry Nuclear Power Plant exercise from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 at the DES. On the 12th, the Commissioners will hold regular session and will include a presentation update by the Agricultural Society, presentation by RC&D, Western Reserve Resource Conservation and Development Council, and the presentations by the Community Development Block Grant Allocation Applicants. That's where they'll have the different projects.
Correct.
Which is good. And then on the 13th is NOACA Finance and Audit, 8:30 a.m., Governance at 9:30 a.m., and the Executive at 10:30 a.m. And then we've got a Family First Council at 2 p.m. at Mental Health. And the 17th, Geauga Growth Partnership Annual Meeting, 7:30 at Fowler's Mill. And on the 17th, then we'll hold a regular session again.
Christie, don't we have something with Portage County?
They asked for a meeting on the 10th. That was what I was gonna ask next. I didn't hear anything back from any of you on whether you could make it on the 10th. We have to advertise that, so we'll have to pick another date. Obviously, the 10th is not gonna be enough time for advertising, so we would have to either look at the 12th or the 17th for a non-session day.
I was going to mention that I'm going to be in Kentucky on Tuesday. I won't be here the Tuesday or the Wednesday. I will be back Wednesday sometime, and probably in the evening, so I won't be back. I'll be gone Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I will not be here for those events.
So maybe the 17th?
This is, what
The
dates?
NARC conference.
Mayor will
which
be
is
gone the 8th through the 11th, I believe.
8th through the 11th. 8th through the 11th. So, and also, the NACOG, I've clearly stated to them in the past, I cannot make Wednesday 9 o'clock meetings. I have a standing appointment at 9 o'clock. So unless they changed it to 1:30, now they've put it back to 9 again. So, I don't know if you want to be the representative for that, probably, because they keep switching it back and forth, so.
That's tomorrow, let me look.
Unless David wants to go.
I have a director's meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I made it clear to them, I've made it clear to them over and over again, but they keep switching it back to that, so.
So will Tuesday the 17th then work for you guys in the afternoon to go to Portage County? It's a joint detention center board meeting. We have to have a public hearing to do the tax budget.
I have a meeting on the 17th. I can't make the 17th. I have a meeting at noon with the dean, the new dean, 12:30. I won't be able to make that.
Well,
on
we
the
would have to
17th.
we would have to pick a time. Obviously, that's a session day for us, so it would have to be.
I could probably get there by What time, 2:30?
I can
3
post that
o'clock?
to them.
Make it 3 o'clock, I could get there by then.
Are the other two, are you either of you?
I can do the 17th, at
Either
3.
2:30, 3 o'clock.
All right, I will ask if 2:30 or 3 is okay.
Make it to the 3.
3.
Okay.
3 would be better.
She's not gonna get there if she's meeting with the dean at 1 o'clock.
Meet with him at 1, and that's
And
been
it will
already
be in
made.
Portage County, so,
Yeah, it's at Portage County, right? So
Yes.
she's got, we gotta drive down there. That's
Correct.
45 minutes or so.
But I can go direct from.
Okay, and then we're
Also,
gonna meet at this road.
yes. We'll be
Blake
at,
and Ralph, I talked with Myron Packish, and he and Grace can come on July 24th.
24th, okay.
And they've agreed to each speaking 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes each, and then 30 minutes for question and answer. So I'd suggest 6:30 to 8.
All right, that sounds
And
good.
have it state, and have it a specific time. I would monitor it for them. I said I would do that, and, but they wanted a specific time. And they will explain all the gas tax monies, and I guess Myron Package has knowledge of the way the, federal is working. But I have asked him if he could bring somebody, so we'll see. But the June is out, so they can't make it.
And we're reconvening at 2 o'clock at
Yeah,
whatever road
at the
this is.
road. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
What's the alteration to the road that you're talking about?
the portion of why.
We always, when they do these things, we always look at what, it's under the engineer's venue, so.
What kind of
I
alterations
can
do
show
they
you
do to the
on the
road?
map the area,
So
if you want to.
It's probably something in the right of way that shows a cutout for this thing, and that would change, probably something like that.
You know, it's like when we got rid
There
of
was
that one
nothing
road.
ever done as far as the original.
I don't see what they're gonna do.
Other than on paper.
Yeah,
No, but I'm not an
I'm
engineer.
betting there was a cutout in there with the right of way, and they'll just take that out.
So,
Well, that would come with the, notifier or the,
David, there was not.
vacation of it.
I know, but there's a right of way, that's what they're talking about.
The right of way would go away when you vacate the road.
Exactly.
So what
I'm saying
alteration do
is
you have to
there may be
do?
something why,
But there was
That's part of
never
the
anything
design.
constructed.
I know.
So-
But they gotta eliminate it off the books, that's what this is.
Okay.
well, we did one like that at Fowler's
It's
Mill.
a-
You know that extension on Fowler's Mill that
Yeah.
goes on the other side of Mayfield? When we got rid of that, we had to all go down there and look at it. We took it off the.
Oh, there's all these roads in Quonset.
Because that was supposed to go through
Yeah.
the Notre Dame property. You know, that road, it was supposed to go down and around and connect.
Okay.
Yeah.
It has to do with the width of Y,
The
the
width-
right of way width.
Oh.
The Sandstone Drive and Y Road in Munson. So,
Where is this located?
well,
You live there.
you go down,
I'll show you on the map, real quick.
oh, thanks, Jenny.
You're blocking the camera.
Basically, right there.
Stand there.
Rock Haven Y.
Okay, show
Rock
the
Haven?
intersection.
You should write in, Jim, so the camera
On
can
the
see
north
it.
side,
Okay.
or south side, excuse me.
Zoom it in
The
now.
south side of
You make the good
Mayfield
weather.
Road.
Yeah, side of Mayfield,
Yeah, like you go down around there, right, Notre Dame, then you come around,
well, Mayfield Road, Butternut,
Butternut.
go past the first one, which is still Butternut, this is Y Road here, and at the next intersection, that's Rock Haven. And Sandstone is basically like 2 houses in from
Rock
Rock
Before you
Haven.
get to Rock
On,
Haven.
on the east side.
On the north side of Y Road.
You're offering free parking, by the way?
On the north
No,
side of
it's
Y, but
gonna
on the, but it's going east,
Well,
east
you'll
of Rock
get
Haven, right?
Get me that close and there'll be other cars.
Yeah.
Just
Just
Well,
like
there's
the golf
nothing
course
there
side.
right now. There's
drive
nothing
around till I
there.
see somebody else.
Like if you're going out west on Mayfield
Mhm, right,
and you get to the Butternut Road.
right, I know
exit,
where that's at.
You
And then
turn
just go,
on, turn left, and you run right into Y Road.
okay.
You
okay.
go down over a couple of knobs and you're right
So
there.
I make a motion to reconvene,
Recess.
to recess.
All right.
I lost my place.
We actually can actually have.
Yes, sir.
Motion to waive the, reading of the, legal notice.
What?
Move to waive the reading of the legal
Yeah,
notice.
Make a motion to waive the legal notice.
I second.
Aye.
Commissioner Speed? Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Speed?
Aye.
All right, here we
the road to nowhere?
Or officially viewed.
The road,
The road that was platted was never built.
so,
We're here to vacate the platting and basically take that whole platted area and turn it into 4 frontage
four
lots
frontage lots.
off this road, with no road for the township to maintain or take care of.
Yeah, I mean, they, right now, the commissioners don't take any action with respect to subdividing it. That's all separate to the planning commission, but we've taken the steps to lay it out in 4 lots. We've had it soil tested to make certain that it can handle those. That's all staked. So we'll go through that process as soon as we get vacated. But there's 2 things to be vacated. We own all the road. We own all the property around the road. What would have been 7 sublots? So the roadway needs vacated, and then that will revert to us, so that we then have all of the acreage to subdivide. There's also a small portion of road frontage. I don't remember how wide it is, but it's not that was put in. If the road went in, that then was going to be an additional right of way.
Yellow. This piece here along Rockhaven and White.
I see how that was gonna go in and then they were gonna spike
So
out.
this is the road we're
Correct.
and we're standing here.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, and you're going to put 4 frontage lots between here and wherever this is.
So they're gonna go
here.
back in there,
They'll be, yeah, I mean, they're just going to be almost rectangular to the extent you can. I mean,
Yeah.
now this one will obviously have this little
little piece
chunk.
there.
Is this road in with all
No.
these?
No, it's not. It's the
So these lots go how deep?
right here.
to right here.
Right to here.
Right to here.
Okay.
Which is basically the...
This is a different.
deal.
It was all in conjunction with one another because it was one landowner originally. But we bought to this, which is essentially there's a, I don't want to call it a ridge line, that might be overstating it, but the hill goes up and it's kind of the height.
There's
of
a
the hill.
stake somewhere back here, and
Yeah.
it's 4 lots that are something manageable, not like.
They're 3.5 to
Yeah.
5+ acres.
Yeah, this does not get
This-
vacated.
yeah.
This is going to stay
Stay.
as it is.
Yeah.
Unbuilt, but still, at some point in time, they may decide to take it.
Whatever they want to do.
Okay,
There.
okay.
Okay, we get it.
All this, and then
Yeah.
Robert Show.
When was that done?
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on it. I just want to know about it.
Yeah.
Oh, we got someone else.
Well, I don't know.
Anyway.
She just drives along with the blinker on.
She's gonna turn into the woods.
Taking the right eventually.
What's the next step then?
So,
You have a viewing. This is the viewing.
is
You'll
the
have a
viewing.
hearing,
okay.
which is scheduled, I don't know.
Next
when.
Tuesday.
Next
Next
Tuesday?
Tuesday?
Okay.
10:15.
You'll have a hearing. People can show up to the Commissioner Chamber. This is the only landowner, neighboring landowner that has showed up.
Actually, your dad. You're representing your dad. Do you own the property?
I'm half owner of the property there, Mary.
Is your name on it?
Yes, it is.
Gotta give you a hard time.
This is going to make for exciting video.
And,
Well, I didn't know.
I mean, what, objections?
I got no objections.
I mean,
You'd rather have 4 neighbors
Than 14. I'd rather have 4 neighbors than 14.
and then we'll submit, the township, I mean,
Yeah.
Lots was it going to be? 7. It would be 7, so really you're getting 4 bigger lots than 7 smaller lots,
and no road,
and no road.
for the
So
township.
It's also, the plat's in a weird status. Back when the regulations changed, there was a lawsuit that forced the filing of the plat. The court actually ordered the recorder to accept the plat. However, on the plat, the then current commissioners specifically noted that it was not approved per. It wasn't approved. It was filed but not approved. So I couldn't theoretically I could try to force approval. I have no interest in it. It just doesn't make sense. These are fully compliant, straightforward frontage lots.
The lots actually passed the perk test?
Yeah.
Because back in the 80s they didn't.
Yeah, no, we had Rudy Schwartz come in. I'm sorry, not Rudy Schwartz. Coach, I forget the name. Who I have?
Soils guy.
No, not Jim. Oh God.
it happens when you get older.
I know. Sorry.
This happens, you know.
But yeah, he did all of our layouts.
So I guess we hear no objections. They have a right to come to the hearing, obviously, at the Commissioner's Chamber, and if anybody comes in and wants to object, fine. If not, we will carry on, we mean the county engineer's office, with resolutions and so forth in the plat to vacate this. You look at any timeline on that? Yeah.
I mean, here's the, in order for us to get it vacated, in order for us to do anything from this point forward, including apply, you know, we just wanted to do one parcel, that's it. So
And we
we're ready to
commissioners
go.
need to vacate that. So as this goes through here from resolution to resolution, you know, we'll stay on it and take care of it.
Yeah, you guys have been responsive so far,
So,
appreciate it.
we will do that. I think somebody's already working on the paperwork and so forth.
Great.
We'll have an engineer's report at the hearing Tuesday.
10:15.
Andy will. And that'll take care of that part with the following resolution. Go ahead and order us to vacate it, and then we'll send the resolution back to that next vacate. Great. So, pretty simple. We've done it before.
So probably within the next, by Tuesday afternoon, paperwork can be done and then,
Excellent.
following that.
Yeah. So I think just we all should take care of it. I get a couple of meetings. Get a report.
Then we just need to
So then
close the
motion
viewing
to-
and a motion to adjourn.
Accept and adjourn, yeah.
All right.